Hey there, dirt bike people. I'm Chuck from TrueTech, and today we are entering into the chaos. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I am moving from this shop into town. Basically, I'm 20-25 minutes from town, depending on how you drive. We're moving into a bigger shop. There's a whole bunch of background and reasons why we're moving. I'm not gonna get too much into that, but what I'm gonna be doing is taking you guys along from a fully functioning and organized shop space here, breaking it all down, transporting it, and in 4 days, we are going to be operational in the new location and open for business. So first of all, if you're not familiar, this is the current space. We've already started dismantling and moving stuff. So this is generally where parts for ongoing jobs are. This is Jake's area over here. He's learned to hate Husqvarna wiring. He's just finishing up some final jobs before we tear down his area. Over here, we have the press and basically the crank building bench, electrical cart, ultrasonic cleaner. Over here, this is the parts room slash office. I've already done a bunch of cleaning up there. This is a bunch of inventory, parts and such. Then in here is machine shop, and again, that's Jake's bay over there. This is already started to be cleaned up, and then this is my bay. This bike has to be finished before we leave. And this area here, obviously there was stuff on the wall there. All of this is just tools and equipment that has already been dismantled, and it's in this area waiting to be loaded on a trailer. So today is Wednesday. I've got trailers and help booked for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I should get back to here around 11 a.m. and then the dismantling will start in earnest. We're gonna start loading everything onto trailers. So the first thing that's gonna happen, actually, I'll just take you guys along. Let's fast forward to Thursday at 11:21. I've been running around doing errands, picking up the trailer. We got this trailer, it's almost full, thanks Troy. We got the U-Haul trailer, that's gonna be for the lathe and the mill and such. I don't know what Shane's been doing, but there's like, I don't know, the things are disappearing and I don't even know where everything's going, but it's working, and Jake's still working on this 950. All the inventory shelves are already empty. Mason's over here working on this 690. Both of these things need wheels before we can roll out of here. We gotta get this suspension done to put on there. So these shelves are getting empty. This is all customer jobs that are on the go. Sheer and utter chaos right now. Okay, well that is a wrap. I didn't film everything, but basically we just ripped everything off of the walls. Nothing left in the office slash parts room. Nothing left in the machine shop area. Nothing left. We just moved in here 3 months ago, and now it's back this way. So, suspension area there, all cleaned up. And we gotta bring bikes down to town yet, but other than that, like Jake's area over here is all cleaned up. All that stuff, that's not ours. All the bikes are in here. Got a load on the trailer. Got the lathe and the milling machine on there. Got the fridge, the little air compressor, electrical cart, crank bench. That white trailer, that's Troy's trailer, it's full. My truck's pretty loaded. Cab's full too. Jake's truck is full. And Shane has got the air compressor, the beast. That thing's going in the new shop. 170 PSI, 30 CFM, 223 phase. Friday morning, 8:30. We are in the building. I have keys. I'm here with my truck. Jake's already inside. George is already inside. I haven't introduced George yet. I'll do that in a minute. He's at Rona getting lumber. Driving into the gate for the very first time. Needs some weeding. It's not a new building, but this whole area is ours. My kids are gonna have some work to do with these weeds. So here it is. Jake's already got his truck unloaded. Gonna be doing a bunch of painting starting today. And then this here is gonna be the workspace. And this is going to be where the benches go. The lathe and the milling machine are going to go over there. There's going to be a bench over here, and then my desk is going to go over here. This is going to get closed up. We're going to have a double door here. This is 2,000 square feet here. Over here, there's going to be storage. So I'm going to be doing winter storage, storing motorcycles, Sea-Doos, boats, and apparently some cars too. Everything that we're working on can stay inside all the time because we have all of that storage space there. That's 3,500 square feet of storage right there. We're unloading the trailer here, all the tools and everything. This is George. George is my father-in-law. We are gonna build stuff today.
We'll try, yeah.
I've got the time-lapse camera over there. First thing that we're gonna do is put pegboard from this little bump out here. It's gonna go all the way around to there. And we're gonna cover up these windows. We're gonna put some like signage in the windows, but we don't really want these windows accessible anyway. So first things first, pegboard, we'll get that done right now. So the first thing we're doing is starting by ripping the 1x4s, and we're putting them on the wall because we don't need the full width. We screw them to the wall with Tapcons and then mount the pegboard onto those 1x4s. I'm always conflicted about what color to paint the pegboard. Black looks clean the longest, white is bright, though in this case, fortunately, we have lots of white on the walls, so we went with black. Cruising along, it's 1:30, we just finished having lunch. Pegboard is almost all up. We got a little bit more to finish on this wall over here. One coat of paint is on over there. So just after lunch on day one, we're putting the second coat of paint on the pegboard, and I'm finishing up the last little bit right there. Pegboard is done by about 2:30. And George is already working on the benches, so we should have benches finished and tools kind of in place today. George actually got started building the benches before I even finished the pegboard, and Daryl came by and volunteered to start building walls. Meanwhile, Shane and Mason are unloading all the stuff off the trailers, and here you can see the lathe and the milling machine are already in place. George had to go get more lumber because we ran out, making excellent headway. Daryl is over here building the desk area office walls. Vanessa's coming to visit. Jake and Mason are over there unloading stuff. We're almost done unloading.
You guys not get black widows up at your house or something?
No, never.
You should see the ones at my house. I'll bring you one from my house. Like the body will be the size of my thumbnail.
Full on Black Widow. All right, it is 10 to 6 and we're done for the day. We've unloaded everything. Everything is in the shop except for the bikes. There's still some bikes up at the old shop and some at my house. This is all stuff that needs to be organized. We've got these walls built. There's gonna be a ceiling going over that. That's where my desk is gonna be. We're gonna have a little counter there. And then over here, so we got all that pegboard up today. The lathe and the mill are in place. They need to be wired yet. This is gonna be my main bench over here. We still gotta obviously do the bench tops. Jake's bench right here, so Jake has tons of space. Going with a little bit of a different kind of concept than I normally use for building my work area, mainly because of the space. I didn't want to chop it all up. So in order to get more use out of the space and so that multiple mechanics can work together, we're going with the more traditional bench along the wall there with space for multiple benches side by side so that everybody's kind of working together. Everyone's tired. That was a day. So I'll show you what's going on in the front here. This front area needs some work. I'm gonna have some couches and stuff over here, and this is all getting paint, and we're gonna do something with the ceiling, and we are painting over here. Saturday morning, just shy of 9 o'clock. We got a bunch of plywood. So I ended up finding a whole bunch of this plywood, 3/4 inch for $5 a piece. They're like 46 inches square. So we have a whole bunch of plans for that. We're gonna use it for bench tops, and also we're gonna do like kind of accent wall things over there. George and Mason got to work right away building the bench tops, and they put the tops on and the second shelf as well, while I did the ceiling in the office space. After quitting high school when I was 16, I worked in construction for a bunch of years, and knowing how to do stuff like this has come in handy a whole bunch of times. I got my boys pulling weeds. There's lots of weeds to pull. Oh, just comes right out.
Wrap both of my hands around it and pull.
That's your strategy?
Yep.
Okay. We discussed what would be best for the ceiling in the office area. We eventually went with just some simple paneling. We didn't want to get into drywall and mud and paint and all that stuff. This was a quick and easy solution, and it looks good enough for what we need. I've got a big stack of this 1x8 rough fir at home, and it's perfect for trimming out this office area. I love to do the rustic thing because 1/4 inch, good enough. The sooner we can get back to wrenching, the better. Now, about half of the sheets of plywood that I bought for $5 on Marketplace had a smooth finish and half of them had kind of a natural finish. The smooth finish pieces we're using for shelving and bench tops, and then the rougher ones, we ripped them into 4-inch strips and we're making this accent wall thing in the office space. I also bought a cheap desk on Marketplace. I spend about 50% of my time at my desk, so this is really a multi-purpose space right here. I've got my desk where I do all my computer work and communication, and then I've got a parts counter, and I can also keep the shop organized and grab parts for Jake. 5:39 on Saturday. Not really much has changed in here. The bench tops are all in, and there's backing in there for us to put our vices in. But the big change today is this. Pegboard all up, this wall stuff, this is all just plywood, all in here. It's all finished. And the painting is pretty well done. George got a bunch of shelves up. There's more shelving going over here and over here, but this is all kind of ready to go. Up here, this white, that's all gonna change yet, but it's looking pretty functional at this point. Now, final day, Sunday. George is putting up the shelves that go above our bench spaces. Those upper shelves are a lifesaver. I never want to work in a shop that doesn't have those. We're also gonna mount lights underneath there, but that's kind of a secondary thing. While George is working on that and the kids are cleaning up, I'm starting to organize my space. So getting my computer going, my phone chargers. Mason's starting to unpack all of the parts and starting to put them on the shelves in the showroom. We quickly realized that we're gonna need some pegboard in the showroom, so Mason just banged out a couple of sections of pegboard, one under each window, then a couple coats of black paint on each section, and we're basically ready to just put inventory on the shelves. While Mason was busting that out, George put the piece of trim, it's basically a 1x4 piece, on that upper shelf, and then Mason painted that as well. And all the while this was happening, the kids are cleaning up and I was cleaning up and organizing. I felt like mostly what I did all day was just pick up parts and tools and things and put them where I wanted them to go. It's kind of an ongoing process while this whole build is happening. And after everyone else was gone, my wife and I did a quick coat of varnish on the spaces where people are going to be putting their hands. And of course I did my due diligence and recorded a final walkthrough. 5:11 on Sunday. So there's still some tooling on the ground here. Those shelves need to go up by the lathe and the milling machine. So obviously we're not quite done organizing yet. A lot of things are mounted on the wall. We're ready to build cranks, lathe, mill. Welder is down here. Jake's got lots of his BRP tooling on the wall already. Little bit of stuff left to do here, but won't take long and there'll be a unit on Jake's bench tomorrow morning. Then suspension area over here. It's looking pretty dialed. I do need to do a little bit more fastening here, and I gotta put one of these vices down. Also, another vise is going over there. The suspension area will work tomorrow morning. And then my area here, it's just kind of like it always is. So the idea with this space is I'm gonna be right there, that's where my desk is, and I can move to my work spot right here, and Jake can be right here. Jake and I are talking back and forth all the time, so I wanted that to be quick and easy to do instead of running across this huge space. So this is like the main space right here, you know, 1 or 2 steps in any direction, and I can reach any of the main workspaces. The machine shop, I always want it to be a little bit separate because that's where chips and, you know, metal flakes and things happen. And I want to keep that as far away from the suspension area as possible. So in the old shop, we put a wall between there. In this shop, we're just separating it from way over here to way over there. And then the main work area is in between this kind of triangle right here. Parts washer, it's right in the middle of this triangle, so I can access it really easily right here. Jake can access it. In the suspension area, I can also access it. That shelf is where on-the-go parts are going to be. It's a little far away. I might move it. Maybe I'll move it over here when we build that wall, but it's okay that it's way over there because that's not something we need to access all the time. It's just like when we're finished a job, we put stuff on there, and when we're starting a job, we'll take stuff off of there. This area over here that was all full of parts and tools and things, obviously that's all cleaned up. We've moved all the woodworking stuff into here. There's a little bit more woodworking to do, but that's all gonna happen over here, so we keep the dust out of the workspace. This area is totally functional. A little bit of work left to do. I gotta put some lights in here. I got those at home, I need to bring them in. Got my board and my order clipboards, my computer all set up, got my catalogs over there, and a whole wall of stuff to organize. Still a little bit more painting. We just varnished this area here because No doubt tomorrow people are gonna come and put their paws on it. Figured we better stain that and seal it up right away. Parts are going on the shelves. Mason was working on that today. 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves there. Also some pegboard here. Mason did that, put those up. That was kind of a spur of the moment thing because there's all this stuff that needs to be hung. Brake pads, Trail Tech stuff, wheel bearings and things like that. A bunch of space there for that. Another shelf over there. There's gonna be another shelf over here. We ran out of plywood. I have lots more at home. The $5 sheets. And then over here, it's gonna be like a sitting area kind of for people to wait for stuff. I don't know how many hours we worked on it. It wasn't actually that many, but man, the whole crew, George, Daryl jumped in, Mason, Jake, Shane, myself, my wife, my kids, everyone jumped in and worked hard. I'm probably gonna be moving a little bit slower for the next couple of days because this was absolutely exhausting, but I'm definitely very proud of what we got done. I said we were gonna do it in a weekend. Tomorrow morning, TrueTech is open.